Welcome to the first ever Paint With Me session. Go ahead and grab this same image. It's in the description box below. It's free. Go ahead, pause this video, download this image, and come back and let's paint. So here I am picking a skin tone. This exact color palette is also available on my site, which is in the description box below. But you could choose whatever skin tone that you want. I am using the medium airbrush. It's already included in the brush library, so you don't have to pay for that because it's already free. That's the brush that I love to use to color in the base color of the skin. Before we get too far, if this video goes too fast for you, don't be afraid to pause it, rewind it. I'm here for you. Leave a comment, reach out to me. I'm always here for you guys. So after you finish the base color, we're going to go ahead and block in the shadows. We're going to add a new layer and do a clipping mask. And then we're going to pick the second color. So what I did was add a lighter color on top of the darker color. And I'm going to use the eraser, and that's how I put in the shadows. It is so much easier than, put in the shadow separately. This method is a lot easier. So for those of you in the back, if I went too fast, what I did first is do the shadow layer as the base color. If you need to see that again, go back and rewind it. Or you could just reach out to me. Either way. The brush that I'm using as the eraser is called Highlight, and I provided that brush. All of the brushes that I use are going to be in the description box below. So right here, I'm carving out the shadows and blending. I'm using the smudge brush on that same highlight brush, so that is a seamless blending process. Doing it this way will make your paintings just look flawless. When carving out the shadows, take your time. Don't mind what I'm doing right here. I realized that I didn't shade the hairline, which the hairline is going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going back to the eraser and carving out the hairline with the airbrush so that I can, cover more area. So now let's go ahead and carve out the shadows on the neck and the body. Again, we're using the eraser on the highlight brush. Keep referring back to the photo so that you can see where exactly the shadows are. And it's okay to get a little animated. Put your own spin on it. This is your painting. Let's go ahead and finish up the shadows. Again, keep referring back to that reference photo. Go ahead and finish up, add some finishing touches, and keep going until you feel satisfied. Don't be afraid to make your brush bigger or smaller. Make it bigger to cover more surface area and make it smaller to, for the fine detail shadows. It's okay to not have the shadows exact, but let's keep working on them. All right, so that looks pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and make a new layer on clipping mask, and we are going to do the darker shadow. We're not going to be using the eraser anymore for this one, so we're going to use the paintbrush on the highlight brush. So we're going to use the highlight brush as the paintbrush, and we're going to start carving those darker shadows. And correction, not darker shadows, I mean mid-tone. We haven't gotten to the darker shadow yet, so we're doing mid-tone right now. Don't forget the inside of the ear. I usually do. I have no idea why. Don't forget the inside of the ear and that little spot behind the neck. or behind the ear, should I say. Keep zooming out, zooming back in, make sure it looks good. Excuse me, I had to take a screenshot for the gram. So now let's make a new layer. And this time we're going to be doing the blush. And we're going to use the airbrush, the medium airbrush for the blush. And I'm putting the blush over the cheeks, the nose, forehead, shoulders, and a part of the neck. And you want to do this with a light hand. Don't press hard on the screen or you'll just wind up with a red mess. So you just want to lightly blush the skin so it looks alive. So after we finish blushing, let's go ahead and do the darker tone. We're going to do a new layer on clipping mask. We're going to go back and we're going to select the paintbrush on highlight and start painting in the darker tones now. For this part, you want to keep referring back to the photo to see where the light is not hitting the skin. Wherever the light is not hitting the skin, you want to go ahead and use the darker tone for those areas. Remember not to go overboard with this process because it can make the picture turn really bad really fast. So don't be afraid to press that undo button and redo it because that's what I did multiple times. Let's keep on working on the neck. And then behind the shoulder. There we go. And the inside of the ear. That is so important. Don't forget the inside of the ears. And then under the nose. There we go. All right, zoom out, make sure everything looks good. A little bit in the hairline, the eyebrow, and behind the glasses. All right, so let's make a new layer on clipping mask. And this time we're going to go in with a little bit darker color. And then we're going to enhance those areas just a little bit, not too much, to make them a little bit darker, just to make the skin like pop, to make the image pop out. Trust the process. It will all work out in the end. It always does. You gotta look a little crazy before it gets better. Trust me. Don't forget the ears. There we go. And then underneath the chin. Almost forgot that body part name. All right. All right, moving on. Time for the fun part. Let's go ahead and do the highlight. This is going to be on a new layer, clipping mask. You got it. We're going to be using the paintbrush on the highlight brush. And we're going to start adding in those highlights. When you look at the picture, you see the highlight is the lightest parts of the skin. And that's where the flash is hitting the skin. So those are the areas that we want to highlight. And this is where the skin all comes to life when you start adding those highlights. So follow my lead, highlight this part of the ear, right here. And all I'm doing is keep looking back at the photo. The chin, not so much. Don't be afraid to press that undo button because that's going to be your best friend. And a little bit right here on the shoulder. There we go. And remember to use a light flick, just light flicks. Don't press too hard. You'll be just fine. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the hair. And this is going to be on a new layer. Do not put it on a clipping mask. Just a whole new layer. And we're going to do the hair color. For the brush, I'm actually using the coloring brush to color in the hair because it's opaque and it'll be a lot faster. You can use whatever brush you want. but this is the brush that I'm using. Again, it's in the description box below, so go ahead and grab that. For the hair color, I'm using a darker brown. It's not black because we're using black for the shadows. So it's just a really, really dark brown. It's not black all the way. And I know for this process, you can literally just outline the shape and then drag and drop the color, but coloring it in manually is more fun. Duh. Just look at it. Oh, so peaceful. Let's move on to the braids. Like, this is just so therapeutic. And then do the other braid. There you go. Drag and drop. Boom. Drag and drop. Boom. All right. Now on the airbrush, we're going to go ahead and shade in the hairline. There we go. Just like that. So I'm going to teach you the trick that I use to work on the hairline. I am using thick detail and I am brushing the hairline like this. So flick in and then you come back down in that motion. And I'm using the smudge brush. I'm using the smudge brush on thick detail. So you do one flick in and then multiple flicks back out. And that's how you get like that smooth process like that. Just keep doing it until it looks seamless. Move it around and keep using the smudge brush. That's how you're going to achieve a flawless hairline every single time. If you need to replay this process, go ahead and do that. But this is how it's done. Take your time with this process. If this is your first time doing a hairline, it is not going to be easy. I'm telling you. Just keep working with it. Keep working with it. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just follow my process and you will get there. Keep going. Remember, trust the process. Don't give up. Once you master hairlines, you are going to want to do them all the time, and baby hairs. Keep zooming out, zooming back in, making sure it looks right from all different angles. Squint your eyes, make sure it looks right. For this next part, for the sideburns, I am using the paintbrush on thick detail, and then I wind it up smudging them so that they look more flawless. And if it doesn't look right, undo it and do it again. That is the beauty of digital painting. You can undo. If it looks right, let's move on. Make a new layer, clipping mask, and we're going to do the darker shadows of the hair. All right. Oh, wait. Okay. So add a new layer and we're going to select a darker tone for the hair and make sure that layer is on clipping mask, and you're going to drag that color and drop it right on top of the hair. Select your eraser tool, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did as the skin, and we're going to erase using the highlighter and, carving out those little shines in the hair. That's what I'm doing now. And you're going to keep on going. Hair is so tricky. Oh my gosh, you guys. But just follow my lead. Trust me, it will all work out in the end. What I'm doing is I keep on looking at the photo and seeing where those highlights are. Take your time with this process and remember, Press the undo if it does not look right. But I'm gonna move on to this little bitty braid because there's not much to it and it's the easiest. Remember, zoom out, zoom back in until it looks right. All right, let's move on to a new layer and make sure it's on clipping mask this time. And we're going to select a highlight color. Don't mind me, I am playing around with the highlights to see what works right. But none of them winded up working right. I winded up using the light brush under luminance. So add a new layer, go to luminance in the brush library and select light brush. Once you have that brush, go ahead and start doing the highlights and make sure you have a lighter brown so that it shows up. And don't worry about how light it is right now. I will show you what to do later, but go ahead, follow me in this process. Remember, trust the process. Keep looking back on the photo and making sure that you have the highlights in the exact places. It doesn't have to be the exact places. You can literally exaggerate it, which is what I like to do sometimes because it adds personality. And I got a whole lot of it. So I'm going to show that in all of my pieces, and you better too. So right here, I'm zoomed in because I was working on the smaller pieces. So let's go ahead and, do the pieces on the braids. And keep undoing. If you see that it doesn't look right, undo it. So if you need to pause this video and get that one stroke right, do that. And then you could play the video. So after you get done with the highlights, what you want to do is open the layers panel and you want to turn down the opacity. So you want to select that in and turn down the opacity on that layer so it doesn't look, awkwardly bright. So now on a new layer, we're going to go ahead and add the highlight strands. And this is what's going to bring your hair to life. So the pen I'm using for this is the pencil liner for outline portrait. That's the brush that I'm using to do these separate hair strokes or hair strands, to show more body and personality in the hair, to add some visual interest. Because remember, you are an artist. It is your job to add visual interest to your photos. You don't have to copy them, color by color. Add some visual interest. Stand out. Go ahead and keep adding these strands. If it doesn't look right, undo and redo it. You don't want to add too many of these lighter color strands because then it starts to look a little weird. So you just want to add a little highlight here and there to bring out, the different strands of the hair. Just follow me. Follow me. You see right here, I did a couple of strands. It didn't look right, so I undid it. And now we're going to add the highlights to the braids. Remember, we're adding visual interest. Keep zooming out, zooming back in. Flip it and reverse it until it looks right. If it doesn't look right to you, it's not going to look right to someone else. But that's okay. Keep going. Disregard this part. I have no idea what I was doing or thinking. But let's move on, add a new layer, and let's go ahead and color in the glasses. Now, I wanted this to be like, I'm a Barbie girl. So we are going to color those glasses pink, Barbie pink, okay? Of course, you can do whatever color you want, but I am doing Barbie pink. And the brush that we are using is the coloring brush. Every time I'm coloring in something, I'm going to use the coloring brush. All right. So, yes, I know one of the lenses is colored in. It doesn't matter because we're going to color it in anyway. So, add a new layer and we are going to now do the lenses. Again, you can do the lenses whatever color, but I am going to do it this dark brown color. There we go. Zooming out, making sure it looks right. And it looks right. And make sure you keep referencing the photo. I almost stumbled over my words, my gosh. So now we're going to add a new layer and we're going to do the shading on the glasses. Add the new layer above the glasses layer. So it's going to be between the glasses layer and the lens layer. And set that layer to clipping mask. This is where color theory comes into play. We are going to do the complementary color for this color, pink or whatever color that you chose. Do the complementary color as the shadow because this will add visual interest. It will add more character to your drawing. Trust me. And it seems weird. It seems weird, but it works. So do the complementary color and you're going to select the brush highlight and you are going to turn down the opacity of that brush so it's not so harsh. And then you're just going to follow the shadows of the photo. And then use your smudge brush. If it seems too harsh, set your smudge brush to highlight and you're going to smudge out those edges as well. So it like softens up those harsh edges and it gives you like that smooth highlight look. But we're not highlighting, we're doing the shadows. This adds visual interest. Again, you're an artist and your job is to add visual interest. You can do whatever you want with your drawing. Once you're satisfied with the shadows, go ahead and add a new layer above this layer and we're going to add deeper shadows. If you need extra time, just go ahead and pause this video, finish out your blending, and then play the video and we're going to move on to the next thing. All right, so let's go ahead and add that new layer. Press and hold on the base color that you did, and we're going to do a darker color, and we're going to add our darker shadows. Again, we're still using the highlight brush. Still using the highlight brush. This is going to be the main brush that we use. And you're going to keep looking back at the photo and adding those darker highlights. This photo doesn't have that many, but if you want to add depth to the glasses, we're going to add those darker tones. Now we're doing the highlights. So add a new layer, go to the luminance in the brush library, and we're going to do light pen and go ahead and add the highlights on the glasses. There we go. Again, keep looking back at the photo and then seeing where those highlights are. You can exaggerate it. Like I'm exaggerating some of them to add more character because it is a 2D drawing, but we want to make it look as beautiful as possible and it needs depth. Again, keep zooming out, zooming back in, making sure it looks good. If it looks good, let's move on. Excuse me while I take a photo for the gram. All right, so I took my thin detail brush on a new layer and selected a darker color. Set that layer to a clipping mask to add some depth in the lenses. All right, once you complete that part, we are going to go ahead and start working on her tongue. You already know we work in layers, so we're going to work on a new layer and select a color for the tongue. I went to like the red scale and then, slid it up till it was like tongue color. I really don't know what color a tongue should be, but this looked like the right color, so we're going to go with it. All right, so let's go ahead and fill in the color for the tongue. Boom. And then let's fill in a color for the teeth. So on a new layer, we're going to do a bluish white color for the teeth. And then go ahead and color in the teeth. Again, I'm using the coloring brush to color in the teeth and the tongue. Don't forget to rotate the canvas so that you are not breaking your wrist. Rotate the canvas. That is my $1 million tip. So boom, let's go ahead and select a lip color. I'm doing kind of like a pinkish lip color, but again, you can do whatever color that you want. I am choosing this color for her lips. And you already know we work on layers, so we're going to put this, you guessed it, on a new layer. Don't forget, she has a bottom lip, so go ahead and color in that bottom lip too. All right, so she is looking good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead, add a new layer. Don't mind this part, I'm just being extra. Go ahead and add that new layer above the tongue and set it to clipping mask. And we are going to do a darker color for the tongue. And I actually did the complementary color because I am extra like that and I want to add interest. So right now I'm trying to get the color right. There we go. And again, we're using the highlight brush for this. So once you get the correct brush size, we're going to go ahead and start doing the shadows for the tongue. Keep looking back at the photo so that you can see where to set the highlight, or sorry, not highlights, the shadows at, because we're working on shadows, not highlights, not yet. All right, she is looking good. So let's go ahead and select the tongue colors by pressing and holding. And then we're going to add a new layer on clipping mask on the tongue. And then we're going to select a darker color. And then we're going to do the midtones of the tongue to add more depth. I am using the brush Highlight for this part. I'm using the brush called Highlight for this part. Keep going, taking your time and adding darker colors. And then you're going to see the tongue like pop out like, boom, look, right before your eyes. It is just, it's coming together. It looks so good. You're almost there. You're almost there. We're almost done. One more layer for the tongue, and this is going to be the highlight layer. So go ahead and select a lighter color of the tongue. So it's almost like a whitish peaches color. Oh, that's a tongue twister. And go ahead and add the highlights. Once that's done, let's go ahead and work on the lips. So select a layer above the lips, or add a layer above the lips, select it to clipping mask, and then let's go ahead and do the darker color and add the shadow for the lips. I'm still using the same brush. I'm still using the brush called Highlight. And you're going to keep adding those darker colors to get more value like this. If I'm going too fast, remember, you can always pause this video and then come back and replay it. So now we're going to add the highlight to the lip, and we're still using the same brush called highlight. And that's going to be a lighter whitish color for the lips. All right, boom, lips done, tongue done. Let's work on the teeth. Add a layer above the teeth. And let's go ahead and do a purple tone. There we go. Well, more like a darker blue tone. And then we're going to shape the teeth like this. Still using the same brush. There we go. All right. What I didn't realize is that I literally forgot about her eyebrows. Don't tell anyone. This is our secret. So go ahead, add another layer for the eyebrows. And I just like color selected the hair so that I can have the same color for her eyebrows. Let's go ahead and work on her eyebrows. Color those in. And then on the smudge tool, have it to set to thick detail. And then we are going to blend out those brows. There we go. Looking good, looking good. All right, what I'm doing is like dragging a piece of her, like some of her skin into the eyebrow so that it looks like hair strands. You can always, if it doesn't look right, again, undo and redo it. All right, there we go. Eyebrows looking good. Moving on. Now let's go ahead and work on the earrings. I'm going to do a gold color. You can do whatever color you want. I'm going to do a gold color for her earrings because that works with the pink that I have going on here. There's really nothing special to this part. I'm just coloring in the earrings. There we go. All right. So now let's add shadow to the earrings. So you can alpha lock, or I choose to add a new layer and clipping mask. And we're going to look at her earrings and add the shadow to the earrings. There we go. Making the earrings, more 3D, making them pop. Trust the process. It's all going to come together. So right here, go ahead and add the highlight color, which is more of a white color. And highlight the earring. There we go. After you're done with the highlight, you can go in with like a darker brown and then do the shadows to the earring if you're doing gold so that it adds more depth. All right. So once you're done with the earrings, we're going to move on to her shirt. You could do whatever color you want. I chose this purple violet color for her shirt. Some might argue that this is blue. Whatever color it is, it's the color I chose for her shirt. And then do like what we did with everything else, and that's add depth. So we're going to add the shadows where they belong. So right here and here. right there and there. We almost done. Like, it looks so good. All right. Whoop, screenshot. Excuse me. Okay. And now let's do the highlight. Everything on this piece has base color, shadow, and highlight. That's the pattern. So now we're doing the highlight of everything, the highlight of the skin, and this is a pure white color. There we go. Going in, shining up some pieces, making it pop. Excuse me, my iPad is about to die. There we go. There we go. Keep zooming out, zooming back in. I'm serious, you guys. Keep zooming out and zooming back in. For the highlight, I'm using the highlight brush in a pure white color. And if it doesn't look right, you undo, redo it. All right. There we go. So right now I'm using the hatching brush. And I'm just adding visual interest, little strokes, little hatching strokes right here next to the shadows. And that adds more character. There you go. Just like that. All right, so boom, there we go. Right now, you can start playing around with your drawing and adding extra details here and there. You could continue to watch me, and we're going to add extra little details to bring the drawing to life now. So I'm adding shine to the earrings, shine to the glasses. Even there's no shine, but it just looks good, okay? And then I suck at backgrounds, so I literally do whatever I want until it looks good. And it works in the end. It works. Go ahead and color. I forgot to color the rubber band. So if you didn't forget, kudos to you. And her eyeliner. And boom, you did it. We are done. If this video helped you out in any way, go ahead and give me a big fat thumbs up and go ahead and share it. Leave in the comments below what you would like to do next, and I will see you in the next video.